welcome to the next episode of the Beach Court Podcast. I'm Eric Ridgway, joined as always by Max Corcoran and Parker Greenwald. Max is looking festival as ever, and Parker's over here in his judge hat. I love it. Hopefully he's doing some judging recently. Today's episode, we'll talk about the San Antonio Regional Championships, where Maddox and I played each other round one, day two. That was exciting. We'll also talk about the new A-Spec cards, some of our predictions and analysis of the cards that have dropped for the next set. And then we'll review Portland meta and what changes we would make to our tier list going into Portland next weekend. Stay tuned to the end of this episode. We got a special giveaway for you. Some brand new merch just dropped. You'll have a chance to win it. So stay tuned to the end to learn how to win that merch. But anyways, guys,
go double check Parker's face for the thumbnail.
The thumbnail.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. How was your Christmas? What's going
on? It's pretty good. I had kind of like somewhat of two Christmases. Yes, on Christmas, I went to my family's house. We spent the day there, and then the day after, spent the day driving across the land to see Alexa's her baby and her aunt, and super
Did you say
fun.
Across the land?
Boo.
Ooh.
DeLand, Florida is a place in Florida. For anyone who doesn't know Florida well enough to understand a DeLand joke. Great. So all of our out of Florida audiences already tuned out, and all of our DeLand audiences have now subscribed. So
Yes.
You win some, you lose some.
You win some, you lose some. Exactly. Max, how about you? How's Orlando?
Christmas is good. I'm here with family, so I'm a little bit of a different recording location, but I brought the mic and brought the Pikachu Christmas sweater, of course, to be festive for the season. But having a nice time, a good time with family. The only downside is, of course, in Florida, Christmas sweaters are nice to wear, but it's still like 70 outside. So I have the AC and the fan on, so I can actually wear this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 70 on Christmas. I was packing the car and like sweating. And I, of course, like you want to wear pants because it's nice. You have, like Christmas pictures. I was like, should I wear shorts? And I didn't. I didn't change. And then I got to Christmas and my dad was wearing pants, and that's when I knew like, oh, I made the right decision because like he wears shorts every day of his life.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
Just got to bring the like the cargo like rip away to shorts type of thing. So you have that flexibility.
You gotta unzip the little pant leg.
I used to own a pair of those. Those things are actually very functional.
I believe 100% that you used to own a pair of those.
That was
Anyways,
a statement.
So let's jump into the discussion. Let's talk about San Antonio. Azul Garcia Griego took down another top cut with Charizard EX.
Wow.
The deck is just nasty, huh? I mean, I think the matchup he had in the finals, he was technically unfavored in, and somehow Grant didn't find Tina V-Star to win the game.
Yeah.
And slow played himself out of the match. Another person, yet again, slow played themselves out of the match. Like, I get that you got to take time, but what's happening in these top cut matches where, I mean, it's like 75 minutes, right? Is that what it is now?
75.
How is that not enough to finish the best of three when we're finishing best of 350s all day? You guys have any opinions on that top cut match on how that went? Or,
I mean, at that point, you truly are playing like the best of the best. So like, you got to be a little bit more thorough in your play because like both players probably like telegraph most of the game outside of like, oh, my opponent whiffed this thing or that kind of thing, or oh, I got a terrible hand off Iono. But
yeah, I mean, I think in a situation like this, you have more of those time to go for those farther win conditions, right? I think if this was a Swiss match, in those early games, right, you just see a lot of Grant's turns just go like abyss seeking a very like slow starts. I think because of this kind of format for finals, then you have a little bit of opportunity for a little bit more of that comeback potential, which I think favors a deck like Tina, being able to make some plays happen that has a little bit of a harder time getting set up. And ultimately, kind of like Parker said, I mean, Grant Hayes is, a Florida guy. Azul GG, of course, both of them great players. It's just cool to see them have a nice long match. Again, a lot of people would say, hey, if that goes one more turn, Grant probably has it.
Yeah.
And even then, Grant had a chance to have it if he just finds the V-Star. So, still exciting match to watch either way, and really just, really two of the strongest decks in the room right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lost Tina is, again, one of those decks, like, It's just a pile, but when it works, it's so good, and that's just why you saw two of them in top eight. So you got two of those in top eight, two Charizards, a Miraidon, a Snorlax stall, two Snorlaxes, one Snorlax control, which we
Mhm.
haven't seen much of lately. It's more of like the Pidgeot build, and you can actually go get what you want. Poor Hale on stream, Peonia misses all three rare candies, pretty much loses him game two because
Game
of that.
three.
No, it was game two. I'm pretty sure it was 2-0, wasn't it? Oh, you're right. It was because game two, the double
Yeah,
prize penalty gave him the
Yeah.
win.
yeah.
Oh, you're right. It was dang. Yeah, otherwise we probably see Pidgeot Control win that game. Because I don't think the Palkia player was playing it the best.
Yeah, I think Pidgeot Control really almost won that game too. Had the unfortunate double prize penalty to lose it. But then game three, like, yes, missing all three rare candies is funny, but that game probably isn't finishing anyways.
Yeah, true.
No,
True.
you have to win game one and
Yeah.
just
Which he did,
not.
right?
Yeah,
He won
yeah,
game one and he was gonna win game two before the double prize penalty.
yeah.
Which what was
Yeah.
that for again?
I don't recall.
I don't
I
remember.
wasn't able to
Pretty sure it was
watch.
slow play. I think it was like repeated
Oh,
slow
it
play
was a slow
violation.
play. You're right. Goodness gracious. It's another slow play thing on stream. So we had two Snorlaxes and two Charizards and a Palkia.
Mhm.
We've seen Palkia make a couple of top eights. It's a deck I've liked for a while. It's a deck I chose to run for the tournament. I picked it up a couple weeks ago. It's like this deck's very strong. It's got some good matchup spreads. It's got some really cool plays with cross switchers, clones that you can do, and it's a fun deck, as they say. And yeah, I mean we see Palkia, did well, made it to top four. I think lost to Tina, right? I think it
Lost
got
to
paired to
Tina,
lost
yeah,
to Tina.
because Grant
Yeah,
Mizzle
Tina's its
played.
worst matchup, right? I think out of everything, Tina's Palkia's worst matchup because they've got the path disruption to stop you early.
Yep, they
And
hit
it's hard for you
exactly
to find it.
280.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
hit exactly 280. You don't hit 280. They can play around the 220 if they want to. They can play
Mhm.
around the Greninja play. There's a lot of things that Tina can do in that matchup. So not surprised to see Tina walk away with that. But what's your biggest takeaway from the top eight field? What's missing? What's there? Things like that.
I kind of expected to see Guardy, but I mean,
Yeah.
like Lost Tina is a deck that they both have kind of a similar play style, kind of, and Charizard is an uphill battle. Obviously very winnable, but still it's always an uphill battle. Um and then if you start Manaphy or Greninja or like can't ultra ball them away against Snorlax, you might just lose that game like that. So a little bit of a rough field for Guardy maybe, but I still surprised I didn't see one in there.
Yeah, I mean the highest place in Guardy was Evan
17th.
at 17th, which
Yeah.
is again we know it's a high power level deck. Just surprising not to see it. I think other things I was surprised with again the two Snorlax right and also there's another Snorlax control with Pidgeot that was just at 10th. And then also Landon Kaler with a 9th with Rapid Strike Urshifu. That was a deck that was getting a lot of attention beforehand. I mean really again just decks that we know about all kind of sneaking around towards the top. And also, I know Eric and I spent some time with Miraidon. The Miraidon variants did well, kind of favoring a lot more of that turbo with two Iron Hands, 18 energy, and just peony and just going really fast. So kind of an interesting shift to see here. And just curious, it's like we know Charizard's the deck to beat going into future regionals.
Yep.
What will change to beat that?
Yeah, I mean Charizard is just easy to play, strong. I think that it can lose to some of the Lost Box builds that play really well that have the Tropius and the glasses. And it loses to control, right? I think its worst matchup is Snorlax control. They don't really have a lot of ways to win that. Even with Minior, they don't always have a way to win that match. That's why you saw Cal Connor, running through the field because the most popular deck in the room was Charizard. And not shocked to see that it's a popular Pokemon that everyone loves, and it's a strong card, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's got its own box, so it's easy to build the deck. The box comes with two Charizards, right? Or is it one?
Just one.
Just one. So a couple of the boxes, and you're pretty much there. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about the meta later, how it kind of shifts. Obviously, we think Guardy beats Charizard, right? But then Miraidon comes in and beats Guardy. But now we've got the Deoxys that we haven't talked about on this podcast yet. What do you guys think about Deoxys V Star? The technology that Jake Gearhart and his team came up with this tournament. For a single energy, it can counter
Iron
Iron
Hands.
Hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I definitely like that. Definitely really, you know, that guy is just Cosmo Brain when it comes to deck building. Um, really solid answer to Iron Hands, honestly. It does put another two prizer on the board, but it's hard for anything to, one shot it and went right on. Gotta power up Raichu basically. Because I think it was what 260 or 270 health.
270
Yeah,
HP.
270. Yeah.
270, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely creative way to find an efficient answer. Because again, the hardest part for Miraidon is just saying, you have no response to a turn one Iron Hands type of thing. If you're very reliant on Mirage Step, because your combo to be able to KO an Iron Hands is like you need a Guardy EX plus a Shining Arcana Gardevoir. Like it's just too much, the way that Guardy decks are built now. But if you have this approach, you can go and say, oh, it's a Miraidon deck. Okay, great. I'm just gonna go, turn one, get a Deoxys V into play.
Yep.
And then you have that response lined up, right? He's playing still has the 3 Ultra Balls, easy to find the Deoxys when you need it, and again, just 1 energy. You don't even need a Guardy EX.
Yeah.
Assuming the Iron Hands has 4 energy on it, Star Force with just 1 energy of your own will KO it. I think even with the Charm, it'll KO it. So we hitting 300.
300, yeah.
So
yeah,
just
it's
a great
tough.
answer.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me to not see Guardy in the top 8. I agree. That was our S tier deck coming in. I still think it is that power level, and it's very, very good. But we didn't see it doing super well. Max, you want to talk about your run a little bit? What deck you chose and kind of how your tournament went?
Sure. So I decided to went back to an old favorite, went back to Fusion Mew. I was talking with Dre and Colin, kind of two, renowned Mew players that have played a lot of Mew and put a lot of time into the deck. So I was leaning towards Fusion Mew in the weeks kind of leading up to it. And then really just kind of those last few days, just kind of finalizing a few pieces of the list. Opted to go for kind of the Dreoxys style list, running all three of the little guys. So playing Ice Cube, Meloetta, and Deoxys. As well as the spicy include of the tournament was the Devolution TM. So really the idea here is just to give us a multitude of options into Charizard, Pidgeot Zard, expecting that to be a large percentage of the room, saying, hey, I have 3 little guys that I can use to swing into Charizards, put some damage onto the board, and then combo with Devolution. A lot of the Pidgeot builds, again, sometimes they can run into rare candy troubles late if they have to discard 1, plus they maybe put up 2 or 3, and then they're in a spot where if you can go Iono, Path, Devolution, KO their Charmanders, then they're just kind of in a board state where they really can't do too much. So
Yeah.
So that was the plan going into it. Ultimately, I ended up 6-2-1. I played. I had my only losses were rounds 3 and 4 when I hit back-to-back Mew mirrors against members of Dead Draw Gaming. So I played. I played Andy Gantner. Great guy. It was good to meet him. We played the Fusion Mew mirror, and so I got him in one game with the Devolution tool, but he also playing Choice Belt, and I was not playing a Choice Belt, so he had a little bit of advantage and was able to pull off KO on my Mew VMAX, as well as some disruption in game 3, and at that point I was just kind of too far behind to catch up. And then round 4, so lose a close set in 3 games to Andy, and then round 4 I play Christian Labella, who I had also played, who had just played in my last regional in Toronto. So before he was on Arctura, I was on Miraidon. This time he was on DTE Mew with Hammers, and also on Fusion Mew. So Miraidon I think is a little more in favor into Arctura, but the Fusion Mew to DTE Mew with Hammer matchup is just awful. They have a lot more access to Path and Judge, and they can just hammer away your energies. So I didn't really have too much of a chance there, but it was just nice to catch up with him and see that. So. I was also battling some sickness throughout, which is why we also a big reason why I pushed the podcast back a week, just because and at this point it was lunch break. Okay, I'm 1-2-1. I'm like, all right, we got to run it back. Got to win 5 in a row, and I feel awful. So, but took some cold medicine, played 4 Guardies, beat all of them. Played a Tina with Tomb. The Tomb. I almost felt bad because it was like round 6. I'm playing against this nice this nice Giratina player. He's like, oh hey, I've played this Spirit Tomb in my deck, but I haven't played a Mew deck all day. Haven't had a chance to need it yet. So like game 1, I get like turn 1, like he's going first. He gets the Tomb out. I get like turn 1 like KO the Tomb with Ice Q, and then I'm able to just like roll over from there. And then game 2, it's the same thing. He gets the Spirit Tomb out, gets like Path in play. I'm like, okay, set up Deoxys, and I just like played the whole game under Spirit Tomb and like won very handily with that. I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. I'm not even playing Choice Belt. This is easy. So had a bunch of games. On the win and in I hit a good buddy of mine, Jared Wattilla. We played at Worlds and we've caught up since then. So great guy. We had a close set. We each made a couple mistakes, but it was nice that for a win and in it wasn't super stressful since it was someone I knew, and either way I was like, okay, either I'll be in day 2 or a friend of mine will be in day 2. So it was good to have that, and then ultimately made it back into day 2 where I felt even worse than the day before, and played even worse too. But I'll save some of the day 2 discussion until Eric, you give your quick little recap.
I just want to say, he played a lot of strong players day 1.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually,
Ruben's really good. I think he's Mexican, right?
Yeah, no, Ruben's great, but it literally just had the sparkle in hand every turn. So
yeah, and then Jared and Aaron Friedman's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
literally like every time he got his opponent, because like his service wasn't working in the venue, so like I had to keep like finding his opponent for him and like telling him where he is, and like every time I'm like, dude, you are getting some bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all the Guardians I played. I mean, they're all quality players. I mean, with Sean and Aaron, right? I mean, we played both of them. They're close matches. It was just, it's just like, okay, hey, one of us wins and moves on. One of us goes home.
What was the biggest like difference in your list that like really gave you the advantage in that Guardian matchup? Was it the Devo? Was it the Ice Cube? Was it the double box of disaster?
Really,
what was
I
it
think
that
the
really
Ice Cube was such a key piece. Just being able to threaten that. I mean, I did have, I had again a lot of Ice Cube pressure. Being able to just pressure those Ralts and Curlies was nice. I also had like a couple of fortunate scenarios. It's like, Guardy, I win the flip. I choose to go second, make Guardy go first. They go Scream Tail, attach pass. I'm like, okay, Mellow what a donk. I played double box of disaster really for Charizard. It does help against Guardy, but ultimately it didn't really wasn't too relevant against Guardy. A lot of times, like by the time I had that going, again, I have a lot of options with Fusion with all the 3 little guys for Gardevoir. Really, I'm just throwing like, okay, Ice Cube, throw Deoxys, just kind of throw all the little guys.
Oh,
just kick my mic.
Throwing the mic at you.
Yeah, just throw all the little guys at Guardy. Really just force them to go like 1-1, 3-3. Of course, with the counter catcher makes it harder, so it's a little bit harder to like mix in the box of disaster and things like that. But ultimately, I don't know how I managed to hit 4 Gardevoirs in day 1 when it was only like 8% of the room. But we made it through. So
Yeah, I mean, good for you. Like, thanks for taking all the Guardies. Yeah, I mean, I could beat them. I didn't. That was a matchup I wanted to avoid all weekend. Trust me.
No, just go Radiant Greninja into your double cross switcher. It's fine.
Yeah, but even then, it's just like still not great. Still not great. But yeah, like I said, I mentioned before, I decided to play Palkia. It was a deck that was fun, after coming off of LAIC finish. I was still high on Miraidon. I was really worried about Rapid Strike this weekend, or that tournament. So I didn't love the Rapid Strike matchup for Miraidon, and I knew a lot of top players were going to play Rapid Strike. We talked to a couple of them, and on Friday, my decision was kind of vindicated. I felt like, just because I saw it everywhere, like literally everyone was playing Rapid Strike. It didn't make the top 6 graphic, but it wasn't something that I wanted to see. Didn't get paired against it all weekend. Go figure, right? So Miraidon would have been fine. I don't remember what I played against round 1. It's probably on my Twitter, but it's not on PokeStats. It's as a other or whatever. It wasn't like a deck that really was anything. So I was able to win that one pretty easily. Round 1, round 2, I hit a Tina player. Again, Tina's like the worst matchup for Palkia. It's like one of the hardest matchups to win, and player wasn't great, but again, bad matchup, so I wasn't able to win that one. I'm gonna hit Brian Kennedy round 3, local Florida player. Also, he's playing Charizard. He really just never got going. It was kind of, it
Yeah.
wasn't like I played super well. He just never got going. And then round 4, it says I hit Roaring Moon, but that's our good friend Zachary Cooper that loves to change his deck on here. And he's playing Snorlax. And the greatest thing about the deck that I chose, Palkia, Snorlax was the freest matchup in the world. Like
Yeah.
if you hit a Snorlax, it was literally like almost auto win, almost to the point where I hit it round 9, and I'm like, like I'm literally sitting right next to Maddox, like so it's Maddox then me, like table wise. So like I'm like watching Maddox's and Jared's game more than I'm watching my winning in because the matchup's like that free. I'm like, oh yeah, hey, what's up, guys? Oh yeah, by the way, subspace spell for knockout.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yes, switch knockout. So, oh, you got Mimikyu out. That's cool. Vacuum Greninja. See you. Okay, it was just like so free. So did that. I hit a Zoro box round 5, and this is also another local Florida player, Pedro Hernandez, that I was nervous about when I found out it was Zoro. Because they have the Jolteon, and Jolteon can cause problems. And I also have to play around the Scizor math. So there's a lot of pieces in that matchup that can get a little tricky. Fortunately for me, I mean, he was able to win game 2, but through all 3 games, he wasn't able to get Jolteon out ever.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Yeah. So like I literally thought he wasn't playing it. Like game 1, he prized it. Game 2, he just got going way faster than I did and was able to win. And I was like, I knew I wasn't going to win the game, so I conceded because I didn't want to tie the matchup. And then game 3, I was just able to like destroy him early with cross ultra clones and just mess up his board state so much that he wasn't able to come back from it. But yeah, so he showed me afterwards. And was like, oh, you didn't have Jolteon. Whew, dodged one there.
Yeah.
And then in round 6 hit a Charizard. I was playing pretty well. Like I won game 1 and game 2. I was up 6 prizes to 3. My opponent didn't have any Charmanders down. Like I wiped his board, so I'm feeling pretty good game 2. I missed an attack late game because I missed an energy. I kind of went through my energies to get through one of his Charizards, and I was like, oh, next turn I have Melanie in hand. I just need a Melanie, escape rope, and I win. And he found the Iono with no Pidgeot in play. And I'm like, crap. So I get Iono to 1, miss an attack. He wins that game. Then game 3 never finishes. And as always, when you hit the tie bracket, you were punished immediately and you hit Guardy. Again, didn't love the matchup, but I went Palkia attach pass, both games going first. So bad game 1 that I went Palkia attach pass, draw attach pass. Game 1.
Didn't even rule the region.
Well, there's no stadiums in my deck, so that's what my opponent said. He's like, "Oh, there's no stadiums." I was like, yeah." I mean, because even if I rule the region and don't find it, I guess I can rule the region and fail it, and you can think it's prized, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then round 8 hit a Lost Box Kyogre, like the Tord build, just no Manaphy, so just Greninja went burr in that matchup. And then, like I said, round 9 I hit
Lax.
Super free. So then day 2, we're like walking to the venue. I'm doing my tweet, getting my tweet ready. And my tweet says, hey, glad to have my best friend in day 2, because me and Max never been on day 2 together, and hope we don't hit each other. Pairings come up immediately, like Max Corcoran round 1. I'm like, son of a man. And so post the tweet. This is 15 minutes ago. You'll see it. It's on the stream. So the funny thing, so like Maddox, we play, right? We're sitting there, we're playing. Game 1, Maddox goes Judge Path knockout. Like turn 2.
Pretty strong. What I think should be sufficient.
Game-winning play.
What I think should be sufficient to beat Palkia. I was like, okay, just go Judge Path knockout. Like, all right, yeah, you're not set up. What you gonna do? You got 2 in play, but I got Fusion Strike energy down. We're chilling.
So he goes like, I got 2 in play, right? He's got a fusion on one of his Genesects. So he judges me into Irida, Lost Vacuum, 2 other cards, I don't know what they are, and then I top deck Water. So I'm like, all right, Lost Vacuum away the path. conceal cards right into 2 cross switchers.
Oh my god.
So then I go like, all right, air it up for Palkia V-Star, cross switcher up the Genesect with the fusion energy on it, and KO it.
Wow.
These Palkia players, man, I'm telling you, it's
So I
absolutely
think
ridiculous. Always getting everything they need.
I don't remember what happened the rest of that game, but I think it just kind of like you were just kind of shut down after that.
Yeah, I was just kind of too far behind. I mean, again, you took out my only draw. I'm like, okay, I need to like, on to power up another
Sparkle.
attacker. I probably didn't
Yeah.
have a way to draw to get power tablets to knock out or gust something. So lost from
Yeah.
there. Second game, I don't really remember the second game. I think it was just like Mew just got going quicker.
Yeah.
I think you got Tomb out, but it wasn't really real. I think you maybe missed a turn of a Tomb, or I went first and was able to kind of like just put some more pressure on.
Yeah, you went
Game.
first, and I think I even said like it wasn't worth it to get Tomb out at that time, and I was gonna get it out later, like when I
I
could
think
like.
you only. I don't think you had any VIP. I think you only had like an S ball for like one other Pokemon or something.
Yeah. So, game 2, I kind of conceded pretty early, and then we kind of talked about the ID right there, where we're like, hey, like should we ID to try to like give us a chance to make top
16
30,
or
32s,
32.
16s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, my thought was that is like I'd rather help get
one
one
of
of
us.
us
Yeah,
to farther along
yeah,
than like get stuck with an early draw, just because like the early ties are also kind of like tricky in day 2. Coming from someone who's like tied the first round of day 2 a few times, just like it puts you in like a weird spot.
Yeah.
Like let's try to put one of us in a position to go on a deeper run.
yeah.
I'd rather get someone 3 than be like, okay, both end up with 1.
So I go first game 3. I don't really get a lot going, and I know I make a super greedy play, and I'm like Ultra Ball away 2 cards that go down to like 2 left in my hand, and they're not great cards, just to get Tomb, and I'm like, hope he
Yeah.
ain't got it. Like, I hope he ain't got it. Go ahead.
So I mean, I had like the Tomb, KO Tomb with Ice Cube combo in hand. I mean, looking back, like, I mean, I ended up losing the game, but for a couple of other reasons too. It was like I don't know if it was ultimately worth it, but I did have like the turn 1 respond to KO your lone Tomb, not your lone Tomb, but like to KO Spirit Tomb.
Yeah.
And just be like, all right, Tomb's not a factor, but
you were only get like he was only able to get like 2 Pokemon doing that.
yeah, well, even with
Yeah.
that, because like I didn't have like VIP available, like I had like Sparkle and Energy.
Like you hit the cram and got the VIP, but then
Yeah.
like you get like Stone for Sparkle or whatever it was,
Mhm.
something like that.
I was like, it's okay, I'll just draw into more Genesects, and I did not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he didn't really draw on anything after that, and
Yeah, and then also my list was only playing 3 Mew V. Actually, no, 3 Mew V, 3 Mew V Max. So I forget
Yeah.
the situation. I think the way the situation worked out is like you would hit into a V Max, and then my other 2 V Maxes were still prized.
yeah,
And I hadn't been able to get another
that's
V,
right,
and
that's
I hadn't
right.
been able to get another V down yet. So it was just like there was just like awkward spots where I was like, okay, I need to take a knockout here. And if you KO my VMAX somehow, then I literally just lose because I don't have another like VMAX and my energy's down from Ice Cube attack early. So we went to time. So I mean board state wise, you're kind of crushing me at that point. So you're in, and so I scooped it up and just said, all right, like
Yeah, just get one
so
of
it's
us.
like if this
moving.
game plays out, you probably got it anyways.
Yeah.
So let's just give you the win and let you go 6-0 to make top cut.
Yeah, and then I proceed to lose the next 2.
I won my next one. No.
Yeah, so I misplayed. So round 11, I mean, I knew the Palkia matchup in Miraidon wasn't like the best. It wasn't great, but like the Ice Rider changes it.
Still winnable, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely very winnable, and I was able to like learn from it and be another one later. But had I practiced the matchup more, I would have known. Like I allowed my opponent to go 3-3, and I shouldn't have allowed my opponent to go 3-3, and that was on me. If I just attack with Palkia at the end of game 3 instead of Shadow or Ice Rider, they probably don't find Raichu, Blow Up, and Boss.
No.
Because they were playing like the turbo build, and he was kind of bricky, which is why I didn't think about it. He was like breaking a little bit, and he goes like, "Yep, got Peony off the prizes, Peony for double generator and Raichu, and he just needs to hit like 3 out of the 2 generators, and he hits 4." And I'm like, "Yep, okay, cool, good game." So he just wins that. And I lost to Tina, beat him right on, and then lost to Azard, beat Azard. So 9-5-1 for top 128. I felt like I had to grind super hard just to get there, and
Yeah.
I'll go on my rant in a minute about that. I'll let you kind of finish your day 2, Maddox.
Yeah, so pushing through. I mean, had a good first match against Eric. I mean, like, and felt well. Was definitely still fighting some sickness from yesterday. As the day kind of progressed on, like, was not feeling well. The next round, I actually played Jack Carter. Who recently just got second at Peoria. I guess a quick aside with my list. The whole point of my list with the devolution tool was to really help in the Charizard Pidgeot matchup, which I was expecting to be a big portion. I played 2 Charizard decks all weekend, and both of them were Bib Zard. So the rare candy devolution didn't really even help. I had tied the one I played round 2 in day 1, but then I played Jack in day 2, and managed to win. And honestly, like, Jack's a great player. He had probably some of the worst, like, absolute luck I've seen from a Charizard player, like, by far. I mean, just like, apparently he played a Luminion. I never saw it. He was like, yeah, I was prized every game I had an Ultra Ball. Just like, couldn't ever get it rolling. I won game 1, he won game 2, and then game 3, I was able to win, but it was like, I Ice Cube KO'd 3 Charmanders 3 turns in a row, and then like KO'd went through 1 Zard. Like, at the end of the game, he had no Zards left to just like take 1 prize per game. So, kind of unfortunate luck for him there, but was able to get that being my lone win in day 2, this time. And then, round 12, I played Jalen Jones, actually a fan of the podcast, so it was nice to talk to him about it. I played I took a couple of riskier routes, and I think also wasn't really feeling well, so I definitely kind of felt my sickness kind of affecting my play a little bit more there as well. So ended up losing a very close game. He kind of needs to, I own him to 2. It's like, okay, I got a trekking shoes into Pokestop into Pokegear into Boss for games. So able to find his pieces, but he had them left, so props to him for that. And then my last couple rounds, I play against Tina, and really hearing the words of Xander Pro, who I was talking to, and thinking about cutting belt, and he's saying, hey, listen, I think if you cut belt, it's really you just can't beat Tina anymore. He says, nah, it's fine. I beat 1 in day 1. I should be fine. Proceed to get absolutely destroyed by these 2 Tinas. The first one was playing Tomb, but really, I mean, these kind of games blur together for me because I was just feeling so badly, and like I literally couldn't even speak during these games, so I'm like whispering. Like, it was just like so bad. I just remember like the last game, like my last set. I mean, I think I used Fusion Strike System once across the 2 games, and he didn't even play Spiritomb. It was just like turn 1 path, and then just like and just like terrible hands. I'm like, okay, Judge into nothing. He's like Abyss Seeking for 3 turns in a row. Lost impact. Like, just like absolutely nothing going.
I mean, the route is just like hit into Tina with a tablet, hitting Tina with a tablet, hitting Tina with a tablet, devolution tool win.
Yeah, wow. If only I could see cards, right? Like, so I mean, so ultimately, so ended up dropping from day 2. So and really went back to the hotel and like slept for 7 hours for the rest of the Sunday and just watched finals from bed. So unfortunately, not be feeling well, but good to make it back to day 2. Proud that I battled back to win 5 in a row to put myself in that position. Yeah. And yeah, we'll kick whatever this cold is for Portland and Knoxville ahead, and we'll have a nice little bigger finish there. So that's the plan.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for sharing those. That was good to kind of reminisce. I just want to touch real quick. I know we beat this dead horse a little bit, but like I just want to keep having the conversation because until it's fixed, like something has to change. We had 212 players in day 2. Obviously this is the largest regional in North America ever. Bigger than NAIC was last year, and it's only going to continue to grow. So Pokemon's just got to do something about this. I mean, you look at top 8, 35 points wasn't good enough to make top 8 at this tournament.
Yeah.
36 was clean cut. And you look at, the top 32 bubble, only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people with 32 points got paid. And you've got
absurd.
A lot of people that miss with 32 points, and even going on the top 64 for like just packs, 30 points was the bubble and only 1 got in. Like I know Pokemon didn't expect this, right? But here we are, and it's happening, and hopefully they're looking at changing something sooner rather than later. They've made mid-season changes before. There's no reason why they can't this year, but they've got to do something. Day 2 has to mean something. There was like even me, if I didn't win that last round, I would have played all
I got
day
top
and
256
got top
points.
256. Yeah,
You would have
got
gotten the same
nothing.
points as me, who
Yeah,
or
as
other
a
guys
40
who were
people,
like sick
as
and
40
dropped.
people that played yesterday and didn't play day 2, right?
Mhm.
So some of the unique situations, like someone brought up a unique solution, and I just want to kind of get your guys' opinion on it. What if in day 2, every win you get is 5 points, and just for making day 2, you get like 10 more points, something along those lines. Like even something like as minimal as that would be like okay to me, right? Like it
Yeah.
just feels like there's so many people in day 2. I mean, like if you do the math, right, was like I think it was like 80 people, like so like 128 from 212. Yeah, I mean that's like 80 people, right?
Yeah.
Like there's 80 people that played all day, not wasted because they got to practice and play Pokemon, but they played all day and earned nothing additional than anyone else that didn't make day 2.
And not even packs, not
Right.
even
Nothing,
yeah.
right? So
They had to
like
wake up early, stay an extra day in the hotel.
well, I think everyone's usually staying anyways for the most part, but like
Yeah.
what do you guys think like about that idea? Do you have any other ideas? I feel like this is something the community really needs to talk about and rally around.
Yeah, I mentioned many podcasts ago that like they should do like an additional 10 points for and including your placement for like just making day 2 because like yeah it's hard and the way it is at this moment is like decently designed for like 800-man regional
Yeah.
in this part of the world, but when you have 2,000 masters and like you said 32 points whiffed, some of them whiffed on money like
Yeah.
that. 32 points was like unheard of back when I started playing. Like you were making cut at like 31 match points. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at, let's see, 33rd through 40. So 11 people missed money with 32 points.
that's wild.
Yeah. And it all
Yeah,
comes down to something you can't control, which is your opponent's resistance, which
Yeah.
feels even worse.
Yeah, you could play Azul and he could just have an off day and O2 drop day 2 and like, well, I just beat the best player in the world and he's had a bad day and
yeah,
my resistance. Like, it's
yeah. It's really hard to find a solution that can be easily like put in place. Again, there's a lot of spots where we're saying, okay, now there's moving bars or there's some adjustment, right? The way that a lot of points are worked these days, where it says, okay, hey, make top 8 out of cup and you have more than this people. This is the points you get, right? It's all very clearly broken down. Same with the regionals. When we have these spots of this kind of moving line of who makes it to 19 match points and who gets prizing after that. I mean, again, just adds that difficulty of, okay, how are we setting this line? And it's adjustable. It's not like, okay, we can't just set aside, $30 for everyone who makes day 2 because we don't know how many people are going to make day 2 type of thing like that. So definitely for the championship point side, right? It is harder to get points at a regional this year in that same way.
yeah.
It's easier because there's a lower point threshold for top 5-12. But if you're just looking at like percentages of the room, then that is changing, right? So here for top 256, you basically have to be in the top 10% of the room.
Yeah.
About 2,000 people, 256, compared to maybe your previous regional, right? Something like Fresno last year or in June was close to 900 people.
Yeah.
So, if you're getting top 64, or top, or I mean, like those numbers, it's just adjusting the bar. So if we're trying to set a percentage of the room, but again, we have these fixed numbers, it just makes it tough. And I'm glad that there's prizing at the top for those, well-performing players. But I think there also is a lot of sentiment from the community that maybe this should be also spread a little bit farther down as opposed to just top 32 for money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just tough. I know it's like, it's ever changing and they got to do something, but for someone to win a 6-person cup and gets more
You get
points
50
than I would have,
points.
we both made, in San Antonio, that's just kind of stupid. Right? Like that
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
but there's local limits for that, right? So the idea isn't, oh, I'm never going to go to regionals because I can just farm cups. It's saying,
sure.
I max out on what I can do at cups. In order to get your invite, you need to not only be able to go win a cup, you need to be able to perform well at a regional, make day 2 to get some points there.
Yeah. There just has to be something, right? They're just too big nowadays.
Yeah. I also wish they had a thing with cups. Like if your cup is more than six is like 6 rounds or more, you get like an additional 10 or like 65 points for winning, maybe something like
Well, I mean,
that. Like
especially these cups at regionals. I mean, I think the cup at
yeah.
Yeah,
San Antonio, I mean, probably over 200 people, maybe 200, 300 people.
yeah.
I mean, I've
Jeez.
been at a 90-person cup in Orlando and gotten, top four. So it's like, hey, there's your 32 points.
Yeah,
Or
32 points.
yeah, right. I mean, like so the fact that it's all the same scale, right? You get top four out of a 8-person cup or a 90-person cup or a 300-person cup. It's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get they gotta have like a structure, but they just gotta figure something out. Anyways, just wanted to go on my rant because it was definitely pressing. We're sitting there doing the math, like, oh crap, am I safe for top 128? Like, I don't even like. Wait, did I even? Let
Yeah, I
me
was doing the
just
math.
see.
I was like, you got to. I was like, yeah. I remember like I
No,
forgot
yeah,
if I was
yeah.
leaving or in bed or something. But I was like, it's like, yeah, you got to play it out. I'm like, you just
There
got
was
to.
two people at 28 points that did not get top 128.
Yeah.
Wild. Anyways, moving on. I'm done with that rant. So let's
For
talk
now.
about our sponsor real quick, Nakama Anime Cafe and Bar. Thank you for your continued support. It's almost New Year's, guys. This weekend is New Year's. You want to have a party, you want to have some fun. Sunday night, I believe, is Sunday, right? Yep. So Sunday night, New Year's Eve cosplay party at Nakama Anime Cafe. See you there. It's only a $5 entry, which gets you your champagne toast at midnight. And maybe you can come, meet a local celebrity.
Parker, what are you cosplaying as?
Uh I'm not sure. I'm I'll be cosplaying as a Pokemon judge that day
Oh, oh yeah,
because
for
I'll be
our
running our League Cup that day as well.
the
That's
cool stuff
right.
cup. Yeah.
Leak. Oh, that's
Mhm.
right. We do have the Cool Stuff Cup this weekend on Sunday.
Very last day of the quarter to do it.
I will
See,
not be there.
Eric beats me in San Antonio and then dodges me for the cup. Gets scared of just losing again, something like
I
that.
mean, some of us already have our top 4 cup finishes.
Oh,
Ooh.
All right. So
Mm.
next, moving right along, let's talk about A specs and the new cards that released. So we've got Walking Wake EX, all these new cards, Iron Leaves EX. I guess this is called Wild Force and Cyber Judge is their sets.
Mhm.
Those are interesting names. Parker, what do you got to say about the new A specs that were released?
So A specs were a thing when I was used to play. They're like Radiants, but you could the same actually it is the same thing. You can only just play one in your deck, but they're usually trainers. Or I guess they were all trainers. The new one's pretty cool looking. So the energy, it is called, the translation, I guess, is called Neo Upper Energy. If it's attached to a stage two, it provides every type of energy, but only two at a time. So it's kind of like boost energy, um, which was a god. What is the names are escaping me? A prism back in the
yeah.
day. Um, and we got Prime Catcher, which is Guzma on an item, which that sucks.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
It's very
like
good actually.
well,
Ar-
okay, yes, it's very good.
Arvin for Guzma, Sealstone,
Steel
GG's.
Stone, Search, yeah, no, that seems anti-fun a little bit, but yeah, it's we got one more, which is Master Ball, which like you think would be super good back in the day, because that was also an A spec back in the day, but turns
Just
out
wasn't as good
computer
as the other
search
ones,
was
right?
just better. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
search any card when you.
What do you think the upper energies applications are going to be? What do you think that kind of? I mean, because it can go on a rule box. It's not saying it can't go on a rule box. It's not
Mhm.
saying anything like that. So, what stage twos do you think will benefit from this the most?
Obviously for now, Gardevoir decks, which like I guess it's not even as I guess it's less situational and reversal. So I'm not really sure. Actually, Guardy will probably play that stupid Prime Catcher.
Yeah. Well,
uh,
also like you lose starting Arcana Gardevoir by the time this comes out. It's like one less attacker for your stage two. You basically have to put on an EX.
hmm.
Yeah,
um,
I mean, like decks like Garchomp come to mind. Decks like
Garchomp, yeah.
Tyranitar EX come to mind. some of
Right,
these
that's
other
fair.
stage 2 decks that are considered a little rogue, Alakazam, that
Mhm.
requires a couple of energies. Maybe we see some of those kind of take place. I don't know. Because the format is, while it's getting faster now, I think after rotation it will slow down some, right? And the VIPs will
Mm.
rotate.
The
Um,
VIPs, that's a
we
big one.
we lose another ball card, right? Level ball.
Level
Yeah,
ball
level ball
and Fall
Yeah.
rotates
Crystal.
and
Yeah,
fog
so
crystal.
we're losing a lot of like search cards, and depending on what gets reprinted, I think the format could slow down in some of these other decks that we haven't seen as much. Even the Arbok EXs, right? That want to just like judge path, 2 turns in a row, and like, they don't have to find the dark patch anymore. They just find the energy. I don't know. It
This one's
definitely has
only
some interesting
stage two,
Yeah,
applications.
Arbok
right?
stage 1.
Yeah,
Oh
Arbok's
yeah,
a
stage
stage
2s. You're right.
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here's my thing with like the energy, right? And I think I think it's really cool and hopeful to see a energy as a spec. I think it opens up the door to a lot that before, again, like you said, it was just trainers. So I think has an energy is gonna be really cool. Really, I think the burden with A specs, kind of as they always are, is is there a use for this A spec more than just the other powerful A specs that are out already, right? In past cases,
right.
computer search was basically played in every deck unless you needed
Yep.
something like a G booster,
Mhm.
or you're playing the Victini, V piece. When you have such a strong card like Prime Catcher announced, even though there is a lot of gust in the format already, and even some item based gust, is there a world where a energy that you can only put onto a stage 2 or a master ball is going to be played more than something like Prime Catcher or like a reprint of computer search?
Right. Yeah. At which point, at this very moment, I think Prime Catcher's going in like 95% of decks.
Yeah, I mean, like even if like Neo upper energy, like say if it was to any Pokemon, not even just stage 2, like would you even still play it?
Over Prime
I mean,
Catcher.
you've got double.
That's what I
You've
mean.
got double turbo, right? So like,
What is any
what's
energy? I mean, you use it in like Lost Box
yeah? I
probably.
mean, yeah. I guess it's like double colorless, right?
It's a Mirage Gate
It's
attachment
yeah,
from
yeah,
hand.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
fair.
So there are some cases, but I mean, like I'm saying, like you almost need to increase the power level of these cards so much that you're even in the conversation to play them.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, like I do see the point of like Prime Catcher. If you don't want to play Prime Catcher, hey, there's Boss's Orders, there's Counter Catcher, there's lots of ways to gust your opponent. Um, but Prime Catcher looks pretty good right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
I think it's I think everyone agrees it's the best A-spec release so far.
Yeah. It's
Outside of everything else that's been released, what do you think, looks good? I know I'm over here looking at Cryptomaniacs deciphering. Search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle your deck, then put those cards on top of it in any order. This is very interesting,
Mhm.
especially right now where people are playing Iono over Judge instead, right? That's your Iono proof. If you don't need a supporter for turn, right? Late game,
Mhm.
it could really help you out and be Iono proof. So I think that
Like
card
the
could see some play.
And
Mhm.
I think even
in
more than
decks.
Iono proofing you, it's just being able to combo that with Raiding Greninja or Refinement
The
Curlia,
barrel.
or other of these, right? Or Barrel or Mew EX or other ways just to draw those 2 cards, right?
Radiant Greninja.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
it's your it's your
Greninja's really
Starbirth with a
good.
couple. It's like a Starbirth supporter, as long as you have a draw ability on board, right? So just that ability is nice to be able to mix in a few pieces. Um, like we did say, I mean, again, just more tools to give players more abilities to do different things like that. Even people commenting, oh hey, you can combo with your gutsy pickaxe or your electric generator, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of like niche uses for it. I'm
Mhm.
excited to see just what people explore with it and what ends up working.
What about any of the Pokemon, any of the EXs that were released? Raging Bolt, Walking Wake, and Gouging Fire.
So
These names tickle me.
So Raging Bolt, that's the Raikou giraffe one,
Yeah, it's the it's
right?
the
Yep.
Ray it's the Rayquaza reprint that's a 2-prizer.
Yeah, or again, there's just a lot of abilities in the. I believe right now the attack is discard up to 2 energy, like discard energy from your Pokemon and deal 70 damage for each energy card
Yeah,
you get rid of. Again,
Yep.
I mean, just nice, really high power level card. 240 HP on a basic, which is gonna be hard to deal with.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And being able
Slap
to
that
discard
tool on it.
exactly. Oh yeah, Yeah, you can add the ancient
300
booster
health.
energy
Oh,
capsule.
it is
Oh.
ancient. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
give it 300 HP. Yeah, I mean, again, 300 HP. That's swinging for 280 for 4 energy discard. Like, pretty strong. Can combo that with Professor Seda, to power up the energy.
Oh
I
god, it does go with Seda.
I do think the one saving grace about the card is that again the Entei one is fire type, the Suicune one is water type, this one is dragon type, because if this was electric type you could use it with generator, which would be way too powerful.
Be
Mhm.
so good.
So,
The thing about
so
Dragon though, no weakness.
yeah, no weakness on 300 HP that can swing for
Oh.
unlimited damage. Pretty strong. That I think it'll be, again, even with the decks like Chen Pao, it says okay, it has a high power level but needs a few more steps maybe. Needs a stage 2 evolution with it. Maybe it's a little more frail. I'm kind of curious to see
Do you just
what
slap this
single
in
prize
Roaring Moon?
options.
Maybe could.
I mean, different energy counts. But I mean, like, I think again, like Roaring Moon is basically, I think Roaring Moon has been a deck because it's just the only deck that can use Seda. Now there's other cards that will be able to use Seda, so I think there isn't even as much room like where you need Roaring Moon.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could, but like I think this again with the energy acceleration potential of Seda, plus just these toolbox of attackers. Even the Entei can hit for like 260. Suicune is just a nice efficient attacker with like shred on it.
Yeah.
It combos well with
Shred
the
ability, yeah.
shred ability.
Yeah.
Its attack combos well with Brute Bonnet to poison your opponent. Hit for like 250 pretty easily. Again, on water type, just has a lot of support right now. I mean, there's a lot of really exciting room for these new ancient Pokemon that are out to see some of this data, and I think have the deck be like very viable. I think it will be interesting to see just like a few years from now when like Seda rotates, but these Pokemon do not because these are H block and Professor Seda's G block. So that'll
That's
be a little
funny.
interesting where it'll just be like, oh, I remember these
It
ancient Pokemon.
is.
Yeah, they have like no good support now.
I'm sure they'll print some more, right, in the set, right?
They'll have something for sure.
Like this next set has to have like some Sword and Shield base vibes, right?
Who
Like,
knows?
I
Maybe
mean,
like battle
if
style
they're
vibes.
rotating it, right? If they're rotating, then like they got to give us some more like staples, right?
Trainers, staples, yeah.
Yeah. So I would expect that this next set would have some bangers in it. Parker, I know you've mentioned that you have a prediction for a card that's coming. What card do you think is coming?
I think they're gonna print something like a Naganadel, the Raging Bolt. Kind of reminds me a lot of the old Blacephalon GX. We do have like Sandy Shocks for it right now, or you can use any Pokemon that accelerates energy technically, but that's kind of what I'm expecting. Some kind of, stage 1 guy that has a similar ability as Naganadel. But
Yeah.
we'll see as the set progresses.
Yeah, I think
Interesting to see.
there's a lot of like neat throwbacks to older cards and older attacks again. Like the one we were talking about, I forget the long name of it, but it's a reprint of Malo where you can put 2 cards on top of your deck.
Yep.
And I mean, and again, we've seen reprints of AZ already. I mean, and also even with some of the future Pokemon, there's some kind of throwbacks like, oh, hey, this card is pretty similar to like Team Plasma Kyurem, and this card similar to Team Plasma Deoxys, and like things like that. Where it's just cool to see some of these cards and like archetypes that are successful, see some hints of that.
Yeah.
And has a lot of people hopeful of just like, hey, they had a good time playing with these cards before. Now they're back in a little bit of a new way or a new spin. So just hopeful for good games ahead.
Well, the set releases in Japan on January 26th, Wild Force and Cyber Judge. So over the course of the next couple of episodes, we will have more information for you as it comes out. Excited to see what gets reprinted and what our rotation is going to look like for EUIC next year. But let's move on to our last topic of the day, and that's our meta discussion for Portland. So just taking a review at our tier list for San Antonio, we had Gardevoir S tier, Charizard, Mew VMAX Fusion, Iron Hands, Miraidon, Snorlax, and Iron Valiant in tier 1. We did see our Iron Valiant make top 32. We didn't see top 16. There wasn't a lot of them there. One of our friends, Nick, congratulations to him, got top 32 with Iron Valiant. What do you guys think about those top 6 decks? Would you change anything for those top 2 tiers? Is Gardevoir still S tier? What are you thinking for Portland?
I feel like I feel like Tina's finally proved itself a bit. I know like a lot of people just play it and then they don't
Yeah,
see success because
yeah,
yes, it's probably of all those good decks, the brickiest one, I would say. Um,
right.
but I do like Tina a lot. I think it's definitely top of tier one or S across the board. Got the best matchups. Probably shouldn't lose to Snorlax. Probably should have a pretty positive matchup in the Charizards and all that. Blah blah. But I think maybe Charizard moves up to tier S.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Charizard right now is just that it's the deck that people knew about before and now is just reminded. Just won a regional. Azul, big player, content creator in the space, just won with it. If you're going to Portland or upcoming regionals or League Cups, like you got to be ready for Charizard. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, Charizard's not
Low
real." Like, no, it's
budget.
real. People will be there. Um, I mean, Charizard was like 18% in San Antonio.
Yeah,
What do we think it is in Portland?
yeah. I mean,
Think it's
I think
20?
it's just I don't think it eclipses 20. I think it just stays right around where it is.
Yeah.
Um, because I think some top players will come off of it now that it probably has a big target on its back.
I agree.
So I don't know. I still think it's like 17, 18%. I think it'll still be the most popular deck in the room.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think we'll see Moroid number 2 right behind it.
I think
Just 'cause
Miraidon will
it's-
take a little bit of a hit just because it was at like 17 or 16% before. I think it will drop some, but it'll still be popular just because it's a deck that a lot of people love to play right now.
Yeah, it didn't convert very well, and I wonder how much Deoxys we'll see in all the Gardevoirs, and if
Yeah.
that takes a hit because of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something that sticks out to me is like, should we move anything from like tier 1.5 or tier 2 up? I mean, I think we said Lost Tina, we would move up to tier 1. That deck's pretty good. What else in the lower tiers?
Um, maybe Chen Pao comes up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if
I
Charizard's
don't
good,
know.
right? Chen Pal's good, right? That's just kind of how it
I mean,
goes.
Chen Pao is
Is
kind of
Chen
a
Pao
pile,
good?
but like,
I mean, it
yeah,
is good.
you open
Coming from
Frigivax,
someone who has played
3
Chen Pao to a
energy.
regional before. Um, obviously very high power level. Again, it's that deck. Like if you get set up, you can probably win. It's just getting all of your pieces going. If Avery's still being played, Avery's really, really tough for Chen Pao to deal with. But I do think that like you were saying, I mean, maybe this upcoming tournament is one where, hey, if you've been thinking about Chen Pao and you think it's a strong play, and you have a nice consistent list for it, then it could be a good time to show up with it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I played Chen Pao in my deck. Just didn't play a Chen Pao deck. No,
True.
it's definitely a solid deck. Our friend Jared, friend of the podcast, Jared Grimes, he loves that deck, and he'll play it till it dies or rotates. I think, next rotation you put that supporter in there, and you go, all right, put rare candy backs on top, a barrel or Greninja into it. I mean, that's a
Yep.
nice consistency card.
But like if you can put Rare Candy back, just play an Irida.
It'd be
Not,
like a fifth year.
yeah, I mean, like
Okay, all right.
you could play like six or seven supporters instead of 4. Something like
True.
that. Maybe you don't need Pokestops as much, if you have that. I don't know.
Pokestop's
Cut-
so fun in the deck. Like
Maybe
you mill
No, it's
all your
not.
Iridas, but it's fun.
Yep.
listen,
It
cut
is.
4 listen, cut 4 Pokestops and put 4 of that new supporter in, and I guarantee the deck will do better.
All right, we'll check with Jared, see what he thinks, see what he
I mean,
cooks
because
up.
like literally you just put 2 cards you want in Greninja. You need superior energy retrieval, Greninja into it. There it is. Like whatever it is. But yeah, I think Goldango's getting a lot of love right now. We just saw a really good performance in Kyoto last weekend.
Yeah.
And I've been saying like Goldango Palkia is probably the best way to play the deck, and we saw him play it with cross switchers, and only one boss, which was pretty interesting. I guess that makes a lot of sense. You want to draw more cards instead of, bossing.
Yeah.
But
Prime
yeah,
Catcher and Goldango.
yeah, Prime Catcher would be good. Yeah, so I think we'll see Goldango maybe move up half a tier, to tier 1.5, and see some people try and pick that up and make it do well. Maybe not in Portland, but I definitely think we'll see that deck get some love here coming soon, and see it get a good finish. Looking back at our predictions, we all picked a rogue deck for making day 2. Parker picked Roaring Moon, Maddox picked Sablezard, and I picked Cloth. Parker won that one. Oh, sorry, no, Maddox. Sorry, Maddox won that one. I apologize. There was Sable Zard at
What?
30th. Sable Zard at
Oh,
30th. But there was a lot more Roaring Moon in day 2 than there was Sable Zard. And there was a Cloth, but down at 182nd place. So poor Cloth. But yeah, any other thoughts on Portland meta?
it's kind of hard to say because like Charizard's like one of those decks where it just like doesn't just lose anything.
I mean, it loses a stall, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, theoretically, every deck loses to stall, and every deck can beat stall.
Theoretically,
No,
exactly.
no,
You could
Palkia
stick
doesn't lose the stall.
you could stick one Zard on the board and Ultra Ball away your stuff and
They just horn it back and then you're done.
They prized their horn, and they didn't hit off Peonia. Obviously.
exactly, yeah. See, you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh no. I think Mew kind of stays where it is, but better players pick up on it. Um like I don't know, it's just that deck
Yeah,
that
we didn't even talk about Hedrick just running TTEMU with 1 fusion energy. And that's his
yeah, I
like
saw
only
that.
answer
I
to
mean-
Spiritomb.
If you don't hit Spiritomb, it's fine.
Yeah. Till you hit
Also, I
your-
mean, Christian Labella had a win and in. He played 0 outs of Spiritomb. He just played the DTE hammers.
Yep.
True.
So he ended up, and again, there's someone with a win and in who ended up with top 32. So the 20th place list. Yeah, just 4 hammers. I mean, no outs to Spiritomb. If he flips
Oh,
over against Spiritomb, he's probably not in a win and in. But
Yeah,
if you
Yeah.
just
like
dodge it, then you're fine, you know?
I'm sorry you hit him that round instead of hitting me. Like I could have bodied him for you.
No. I always love to see some Mew success, and Christian's a good guy. So
He was like, man, I want to avoid you day 2. Stay away from me. I was like, come on, let's get paired. Why not?
Mhm.
Any other thoughts?
yeah, I think just like heading into the next, regional, again, we're going to see more Charizard, more of the same. I do think like some other top players are going to be intrigued by the Snorlax Pidgeot build. It's pretty well positioned right now, I think. Anyone who knows how to play it and is willing to play it, I think will show up with it and do well with it. I mean, again, still not going to be more than 2% of the room,
Right.
but something to just kind of keep a watch out for. And I've played a few games on live lately with that Turbo Miraidon deck, and it's honestly pretty fun and just like gets going. You get like, oh look, I have 5 energy and play on the first turn, like hands. Like it's kind of neat. Obviously, polarizing matchup spread, but in those matchups where it wins, it just wins. So it's pretty neat to see.
Yeah, I mean, on that same note, I think underrated deck coming into Portland is Entei Valiant.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, whether it be the Urshifu variety or whether it be the Entei variety, I think they're both well positioned, depending on what you're comfortable with and want to play.
Yeah.
Especially if Marchin Palsey's play because he just body that deck.
Yeah, Urshifu Valiant, I think right now is pretty strong. I mean,
Yeah, I
really,
think so,
really
too.
favorable Charizard matchup. Just being able to spread out damage easily. Playing 2D evolution tools.
Yeah.
G-Max Rapid Flow still a good attack. Also,
Yeah.
like we said, a lot of decks cutting, Manaphy not really respecting, Greninja decks being well positioned, which is why I think Palkia was a great play for you, Eric. I mean, decks not playing ways around, Greninja. Even Grand
Yeah,
Hayes,
even when
your
they have
Tina list.
Manaphy, I just play Cologne and it's like GG's.
Exactly, but I mean, like Grant Hayes, even like his second place list with Tina, no Manaphy.
Yep.
So, definitely room for one of those decks that's kind of like teched out to go on a nice run and have a good performance.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I was gonna add that I think the Paradox decks might go up slightly in percentage, like the Moon and the Valiant, but yeah, I think we.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we didn't even talk about the Moon with cross receiver doing well. I mean, have you played it? It's kind of guess
Is that the
like-
thing where if you play 2, you can grab a supporter?
supporter
Or
or
a Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
so like if you need a supporter that's in the deck, you just grab your Luminions and discard and move on. Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I like it. It's another way to get
Yeah.
it's instead of playing a Pokegear, right? It's a way like off Pokestop. I can hit a state. I can hit a supporter.
Yeah.
Off Pokestop.
Maybe just play that in Chen Pao.
I was literally just thinking like, should you just play that in Chen
but then
Pao?
you also get 2 cross.
Like
You
cut
get
the
back
cross
Iron Hands
switchers and
back.
just
Hold
play,
up a second. Wait a second. No, I don't figure it out. I mean, I haven't played any games with it. I watched the one Azul video, and then on his first turn, he's like squawking away 2 cross receivers and a cross switcher. I'm like, yep, great cards. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. So without further ado, let's unveil the new merchandise that's going up for giveaway. We have our brand new Beach Court podcast mat.
a
So you guys
Parker
can
gives
have
the
a
reaction
chance
face.
to win this mat. To win this mat, you must be subscribed to the Beach Court podcast on YouTube. Comment what deck you think's going to win in Portland. And follow the Beach Court podcast on Twitter. Do those 3 things. We will do a winner. Probably pull the winner in Portland on Sunday. So that is January 7th, right?
Sounds about right.
So submissions will close January 6th so that we can get those ready. Yeah, get you a nice fancy Beach Court podcast mat. You'll see me and Maddox playing on it in Portland. See you there. I'm very excited to have this mat. We've been working on it for a while, and you know, if you want to also order some mats, please contact us, and we'll give you a way to order some mats. But right now, your best chance to get one is by winning one for free by subscribing, commenting, and following on Twitter. Anyways, that's been a lot of fun getting that ready, and we'll have some more exciting things for you next year. We're always working on something new. But until next time, that's all she wrote.
Yep. See you.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.